Japan is one of the most socially interesting countries in modern times. The sudden transformations the country went through after the Second World War naturally affected the Japanese society in many different ways. On the one hand, it is a traditional way of life accumulated over hundreds of years, and on the other hand, a society vacillating between the benefits of mechanization and capitalism. Now let's look at some interesting aspects of this unique society. First, let's talk about one of the biggest problems of this very crowded and highly productive society: loneliness. Hikikomori literally means retreat inside being imprisoned. The concept first appeared in a study published by Japanese psychiatrist Tamaki Saito in 1998. Saito describes these lonely individuals as those who have been completely withdrawn from society for more than 6 months, usually in their mid-20s, whose cause cannot be explained by the presence of other mental disorders. These are people who do not enter work in school life, generally making a living with the help of their parents or their pensions. He spends almost all of his time at home lying in bed. They only go out when they have to, when they're not likely to meet anyone they don't know. So much so that there are hikikomori who have not left their homes for more than 30 years. This is exactly the situation of 56-year-old Shinichi in a documentary broadcast by the Japanese state channel NHK. Shinichi, who has not left his home for over 40 years, is extremely weakened and restricted in movement due to malnutrition. He refuses the attendant who offers to take him to the hospital. 10 days later, he dies of the same cause. When we look at the reasons for hikikomori, we first see the pressure of the Japanese education system and working life on people. In the education system, where even behaviors such as truancy are effective in job applications, teacher recommendation letters are received in competition, is increasing. Japanese youth believe that they do not have a second chance against failure. Many hikikomori who failed the exams, could not get a good job, or exposed to bullying or mobbing found the solution by leaving school, or resigning from their jobs and withdrawing from social life and staying in home. The fact that the number of early leaving figures increased by nearly 20,000 to 164,528 in 2018 is an example of how challenging the system is. Let's take a look at another phenomenon related to this loneliness: Kodoku-shi, or lonely death. A Japanese phenomenon, Kodoku-shi, which means that people die alone in this does not occur for a long time, came to light in 2000 when it was found 3 years after the death of a 69-year-old man in Japan. With 1,049 deaths alone in Tokyo, Kodoku-shi numbers tripled between 1983 and 1994. Similar numbers were also announced in 2011. A moving company in Osaka explained that 20% of the jobs the moving companies take is to move the belongings of people who have died alone. We showed it as the reason for loneliness, but what's wrong with the education system? Namely, Japanese students face tremendous pressure from their parents, teachers, peers, and society to succeed academically. This is largely the result of a society that has long attached great importance to education and a system that puts all its weight on a single exam with significant lifelong consequences. This pressure leads to violence at school, cheating, in significant psychological harm. Studies show that in some cases students experience nervous breakdowns that require hospitalization. There are also criticisms about the amount of leave and free time given to students during middle and high school. The time it takes for Japanese students to translate what they learn in the classroom into real life is dramatically shortened by the transition from primary to secondary school. This is because of classroom education, or juku, which can start as early as primary school, and is attended by about 60% of all students towards the end of secondary school. In recent years, there has been a great increase in the appearance of juku within the Japanese academic system. Classrooms have become synonymous with education in Japan and have even begun to be seen as a support for the structure of education in question. The cost of juku, which can reach millions of yen depending on how old the student is and how much a parent can pay, is a very profitable part of the education economy, and today there are more than 50,000 juku schools operating in the country. Another social crisis facing Japan is Kodoku-shi, which can be translated as the death of overwork. The most common causes of Kodoku-shi deaths are heart attacks and strokes due to stress and malnutrition. In addition, mental stress from the workplace can cause workers to commit suicide. In fact, the roots of this situation go back to the Second World War. After the war, the country worked more than 12 hours a day and 6 to 7 days a week for years to achieve economic development. This caused overwork to become the culture of the country. In about a quarter of Japanese companies, workers work more than 80 hours a month, often unpaid. 12% of employees work more than 100 hours per month. So what do the Japanese do to relax in their busy lives? They follow idols. The concept of idol has a very important place in Japanese pop culture, and it is quite different from the Western understanding. An idol can be defined as a type of entertainer produced and marketed for image, charm, and personality in Japanese pop culture. Idols are trained in acting, dance, and modeling by the agencies that first discovered them. Idols who maintain a money social relationship with their passionate fan base are commercialized by talent agencies through licensed products. The social role attributed to an idol in Japan is very different from that in other countries, especially in the West. While in the West it is expected that characters who are seen as pop star idols can sing well and have a strong stage performance, in Japan the role of an idol is closer to that of a beauty pageant winner. They are seen as commercial objects, your dreams come true, with lots of idealized fantasy uploads, illusions, and millions of dollars on them. The main purpose of an idol is to sell dreams by offering fans a way of escape from the troubles of everyday life. Seen as a role model, idols having relationships with others for this reason only destroys the illusion of existence for their fans. Therefore, it harms the economic interests of the agencies. Similarly, behaviors such as alcohol use and cigarette consumption in public areas will be seen as impure behavior by fans, who want an innocent porcelain doll and will again break the illusion. Music comes much later than that. That's why so many idols can barely sing and their producers hardly make any effort to perfect their voices. Female idols are expected to retire and leave the group at the age of 25, men's 30, as the younger and naive the idol is considered better. It is considered quite normal for every child to start being an idol at the age of 10, to leave school and attend events that prepare for idolatry. Idols are not considered serious artists because of their manufactured images and often short careers. A society that could be modern with its own aspects without being completely Western with the elements it carried from ancient civilizations. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe.